Today, we're going to share a recording from our YouTube channel. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the Consulting Success channel on YouTube. I'll now turn it over to Michael.
The biggest threat to consulting firms in 2024 is technology, but it's not what you think. Of course, as a consulting founder, you need to pay attention to things like your industry, what shifts and changes are happening, regulation, is the market in a good condition, what's going on inside of your industry, right? That really goes without saying. And of course, you should also be paying attention to the macro environment. There are things that are out of most people's control, whether that is political, whether that is the economy, whether it is wars or disruptions or anything that might be going on in the environment. It's important as a consulting founder to be thinking about how does that influence, how does that impact, what are the potential dangers, threats, and in many cases, opportunities that come with that. And in the day and age that we're in, there's no question that cyber security and paying attention to data and things of that nature are also really important. And then delivery, right? Delivering great work is something that you should always be paying attention to when you're running your consulting business. But in 2024, the biggest danger for a consulting founder is technology, specifically disruption. Now more than ever before, technology and social media is vying for your attention. I see many consultants, just throughout our communities at consultingsuccess.com and clients that we work with, they are overloaded with options, with people and tools and apps that are taking, their mind share. They are constantly picking up their phones. The average person picks up their phones hundreds, if not 1,000 times a day. In many cases, you pick up your phone without even thinking about the reason to pick up your phone. So as you think about building and growing your consulting business, technology can get in your way. What this leads to is people spending a lot of time on apps or on websites, or really they are spending time consuming information, but that information in many cases is not that beneficial to their business, and certainly not to their growth or their productivity or to their effectiveness. And so that means there's a lot of waste in that activity, right, inherently. And if you're spending a lot of time consuming information, that means you have less time to spend on implementing. Information by itself is not what creates results. It's not what creates outcomes. It doesn't actually move you and your business forward unless you apply what you learn. And specifically, distraction from technology is the greatest danger to every consulting business owner and founder today. And I believe this is to be especially true when you are either a solo independent consultant or a small boutique firm owner. And the reason for that is that you have fewer resources. You have more dependence and reliance on you generally than a larger firm. And so if you as the founder are spending a lot of time consuming information that is not information that really helps you to grow your business, and don't fool yourself that scrolling through Facebook or X/Twitter, whatever it might be, is really going to help you to grow your business, because in almost all cases, it's not. If you're spending a lot of time in distraction or just being distracted by some form of technology, it also means that it's moving you further away from having conversations. And when you look at every consulting business, there's always a conversation involved before you win a client, before you start an engagement. And as a consulting business owner and founder, you should be focused on having as many conversations as you possibly can. Generally, the more conversations you have, the more business you will win, and therefore your business will actually grow. Here's a simple way to think about it. At the start of where you are today, right, you have an idea of where you want to be, which is the end. In the middle, right, that kind of messy middle is where people get derailed, where they get distracted. You start an activity, and it might be, that you need to do some prospecting, or you need to write an article, or you need to do something to get in front of your ideal clients. And so the end result of, let's say, writing an article is to actually have a finished article that you can go and promote. But between the time that you start and the time that you get to the end of promoting that article, right, is the writing. Now, as you're thinking about writing, you may decide to go online to look for some information, right? Maybe some data, a quote, some inspiration on your writing. What tends to happen for so many people is that they start that process, but in the middle, they get lost. You see an article that is not related to what you actually need to be spending your time on right now, but it's interesting. So you go down that path and start reading it, or you see a video, or you click on a link and it takes you to a video or to a conversation, or right, something will distract you and it will move you from continuing that path from the start to the end. So let me offer you a couple of suggestions on how to combat distraction from technology. There's two key things that I would encourage you to pay attention to and to really put your focus on. The first is your clients. Instead of thinking about consuming more information, if you shift your focus, or maybe just realign your focus to really think about what creates the most value for your clients. How can you produce the best experience for your clients and for those that come into your world, right? Including prospective clients and past clients. And then how can you ensure that you serve those clients in the best possible way so that they have the best outcomes? Now, of course, that means that you should have a focus on doing great work, right? Delivering a great experience and a great outcome for your clients. When you focus on the outcome and on providing a great experience and results for your clients, instead of worrying about having all the possible information, what that leads to is your clients tend to refer more business. They tend to introduce you to more people. They want you to work with them more deeply inside of their organization. And so that cycle, right, takes place where more good things are created. Consuming more information, being distracted by technology or apps or whatever doesn't actually help you, right? It holds you back. Now, the second suggestion I would offer here is around your marketing. If you want to ensure that you are not going to be in a position where you're not making the kind of progress that you want, right? Where you start the quarter or start the year with big aspirations and goals, but then later on you find out that you actually haven't made the kind of progress that you want. What you want to do is you want to think about your marketing. And that means putting your expertise, your insights, your ideas out into the marketplace so that you are visible. Because if ideal clients, if the market doesn't know that you exist, if they don't know how you can help them, what kind of problem you are an expert at solving and what kind of results you have delivered for others and therefore can deliver for them, then they're not going to even engage you in a conversation. They're not going to reach out to you because they aren't thinking about you. So job number one for you as a consulting business owner and founder is to make sure that your expertise, your team, your brand, whatever it might be, is visible in the marketplace. It's also really important to be consistent with that. If you write one article and publish it, it's unlikely to do you really any great favors. You're not going to probably see great results from that. But if you write an article and you publish one article every week, or you run a podcast and publish one podcast every week, or you put out a video every week, or whatever it is, but you're doing it consistently, now you will start to see the benefits of compounding take place inside of your business. If you'd like to learn more ways that you can actually improve your marketing, generate more leads, start having more conversations with ideal clients, head over to consultingsuccess.com and you can see all the resources that are available to you, some free, some in terms of paid programs that can really help you to take your consulting business to the next level. But for now, let's get back to this. With these two suggestions in mind, I want to also offer you some structure, a bit of a framework to help you to ensure that you're making the kind of progress that you want. There's three parts to the structure that we've found can be very helpful. The first is to get very clear about defining the goal. What is the actual goal that you want to achieve in your business? And this could be for the quarter, it could be also for the year, or it could be for the month, but generally you're going to think about your goals, or should think about your goals in terms of annual goals and quarterly goals. So the first part of that would then be to define what is the actual goal that we want to accomplish this quarter, right? What are you working towards? That's really important because if you aren't clear on your goal, it's much easier to be distracted. If you're very clear on your goal, you can then make sure that you're asking yourself, right? You can kind of have that checkpoint or opportunity to get things back on track, because anytime you are doing something inside of your business, or anytime that you are spending time on anything, you can ask yourself the question of, will this help us or help the team to reach the goal that we've all agreed to? And depending on the size of your team, you might have 2 goals per quarter, or 1 goal per quarter, or maybe up to 3. Generally, you're not going to have more than that if you're just yourself. If it's a small team, you might have a few more, but again, 5 goals or under typically per quarter. So you can always ask yourself, based on the goal that you are responsible for, right? The main kind of initiative and what you really want to accomplish. When you're spending time on something, you can ask yourself, is this really going to help me to reach reach my goal? And if it's not, then stop doing it, right? If you're listening to a podcast or you get distracted watching a video or you're reading some article or you're scrolling through social media, ask yourself right now or ask yourself at that time, is this going to help me to grow my business? And if it's not, stop doing it. As simple as that. I can, of course, you might say, well, it's interesting. Fine. If it's interesting, keep that for time when you're relaxing. Keep that for a bit of a break. But if you really want to be productive and effective, then it's important that you are spending your time on things that are going to actually help you to grow the business. The second part of this is to track the results of what you are doing. So first, you have a goal. You're going to take action towards the goal. What you then want to do is to make sure that you're tracking the outcome, right? Tracking the progress. Because the third part is that you can then review and improve. So if your goal is to land a really prestigious opportunity in, let's say, writing or speaking for a publication or for a conference, well, you might start off the quarter saying, by the end of the quarter, that's what I want to accomplish. I want to get on the stage of this massive conference that all of my ideal clients go to, or maybe there's more than one conference. And so during that quarter, right, you're going to have a plan, or your team might be supporting you in doing some specific outreach. You have to write the emails, you have to send the emails, you have to do the follow-up, you have to make the phone calls, you have to maybe even do before that some research around what ideas you want to pitch, right? Then you're going to send the emails or communications and do the follow-up. And so these are all things that you're going to be tracking to see, are we on the right track? Are we actually going towards what we want? Are we getting responses, right? And then if you're not getting the kind of responses that you want in whatever you're doing, if you're not making the progress that you want, now you have the opportunity to course correct. You have the opportunity to say, well, why are we not making the progress that we want? What is potentially holding us back? Where is the challenge? If you're not clear on the goal, it's very hard for you to actually reach that goal. It's very hard to reach that destination if you don't know where the destination is. And it's also hard to reach a destination in the most efficient and effective way possible if you're not tracking it, if you're not looking at what is happening. Are we actually on the right track? If you think about an airplane, and you may have heard this before, that an airplane is course correcting almost continuously, right? Consistently throughout the trip. And that's because it can't just go straight, right? It's always moving a little bit. And so it always has to make little adjustments. You and your business are the same, whether you realize it or not, right? You constantly need to make adjustments to make sure that you are on track so that you reach your final destination. Otherwise, you'll end up very far away from where you intended to be. So I hope that's helpful, and it may be a bit of a wake-up call in terms of what I believe is the biggest danger and threat to consulting firms, and especially solo and small consulting firms in 2024, the distraction that comes from technology, because we are surrounded in more of that and more options and more things vying for our attention, more noise, more clutter than we've ever had before. And so it becomes incredibly important for you to stay focused, for you to make sure that you're clear on your priorities and you have those goals in mind, and that you take action around focusing on your client and the client experience and creating value for them, and also doing your marketing so that you are visible and consistent, are building that pipeline of opportunities going forward. Watch the next videos here on our YouTube channel for a lot more in terms of practices and principles and strategies and mindsets and ideas and insights to help you to grow your consulting business.
Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this, you'll love all the free resources, case studies, and best practices at consultingsuccess.com. Don't forget to subscribe and leave a rating and review on Apple, Spotify, or your favorite podcast app. Thank you so much.